Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurul Zaira Lubis binti Fana Lubis and my metric number is 17DIB18F2058. Alright, today I would like to present about the topic public awareness of plastic pollution in the ocean. Okay, firstly I will explain about the introduction of background information. Alright, plastic waste is littering our ocean and threatening the life of millions of marine animals, which is like seals, whales, dolphins, seabirds, fish, crabs, and many other sea animals are dying and becoming sick because of this deadly environmental concern. Microplastic are a major part of this issue. Microplastic are tiny pieces of a plastic which come from larger plastics that have degraded over time. Because of that, sea animals often eat microplastic because of their small size. Small size. And plastic contains toxic chemicals which can increase the change of diseases and affect reproduction. After ingesting, microplastic seals and other animals may suffer from months or years before they die.
Assalamualaikum and hi to our lecturer, Miss Halimi binti Khairuddin. I am Siti Sarah Aisyah binti Muhammad Afrizal. My metric number is 17 DIB 18F2003. I am from DIB 4B in Islamic Banking. Let's go through the first slide, which is our explain about problem statement. Our problem statement is the accumulation of waste. The accumulation of waste is littering, storm wind, and poor waste management all contribute to the accumulation of this debris, which is 80% from it is come from the sources on land. And the common types of debris including with a various type of plastic such as like shopping bag, beverage bottles, including with the cigarette butts, bottle caps, food wrappers, and also fishing gear plastic waste is a particularly problematic as a pollutant because it is so long lasting. As we all know that plastic is so hard to decompose, which is it can take 100 years. So for the next problem segment is about waste causing the death of animals by ingestion of plastic object. As we all know, in this world are not just about human, but we do have animals who live in this world too, and these poses are dangerous to both, which is human and also animals, such as like fish will become tangled and they will be injured in the debris, and some animals may be mistaken items like plastic for foods and eat them. For the small organism feed on tiny bits of broken down plastic, which is we call as a microplastic, and they will be absorb the chemicals into the tissues from the plastic. After they ingestion the microplastic, seals and other animals will maybe suffer for a month or for a year before they die. Next slide is I will explain to you about our research objective and also research questions, which is we have at least 4 research questions and research objective. First is about to investigate on ways to overcome the plastic pollution in the ocean. Second is about to access citizens about our nature conservation. Third is about to describe how serious is the issue of plastic pollution. Lastly is about to describe on how powerful the recycle can reduce the pollution.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Datuk Serina binti Saidin, number metric 17DIB18F2001. I will present about methodology for our mini project. The respondents are active people from Gombak area. We chose them to be responsible because we wanted to know about plastic pollution awareness in ocean among them. Next, the survey was held in questionnaire form. Then the survey was started on week 5. Next, the questionnaire. The questionnaire have 5 parts with 23 questions. every part have a different purpose of the question. Part 1 is about demographic information with 3 questions. Part 2 until Part 5 have 5 questions. Part 2 is about to describe how serious is the issue of the plastic, while Part 3 is about to assess the citizen about nature conservation. Part 4 is about to describe the power of the recycle that reduce pollution in the ocean. The last part is Part 5. Part 5 is about to investigate on ways to overcome the plastic pollution in the oceans.
First of all, I will explain about the demographic. Okay, this is a bar graph. The graph shows the gender of active responses Gombak area. There were 27.5 male and 73.8 female. It can be clearly female was a grade higher than male, and from the graph, most responses were female and some respondents are male. Alright, for this bar graph, the graph shows the age of the active responses Gombak area. There were 7.5% of 11 to 17 age, 82.5% of 80 to 24 age, 8.8% of 25 to 39 age, and 2.5% of 40 to 59 age. It can be clearly seen 18 to 24 years old was dramatically than others age. From the graph, most of the responses are 80 to 24 years old, then the least 40 to 59 years old. The graph shows the employment status of active responses of Gombak area. There were 75 of students, 23.8% of employee, and 3.8% of unemployed. It can be clearly seen students are a great deal than unemployed. From the graph, majority of responses were student and unemployed were than least. Alright, I will explain about the data analysis part 2 to describe how serious this issue of plastic pollution. Okay, based on this pie chart, the chart above show people concerns about the sea pollution. The survey aims to investigate the public that aware to concerns about the pollution waste in the ocean. As you can see the graph, a large majority of people choosing to always concerns the plastic waste because of love the nature. Moreover, small of the group respondent choosing to do not care about the problem issue that happens to the plastic waste in the ocean. It can be seen that exactly 3/4 of the people concerned about the sea pollution, whereas less than a quarter of people concerned about the pollution ocean. Thirdly, only 1 in the below a teens people concerned about the sea pollution in the waste. In conclusion, based on the graph, people always concerned about this pollution because we love to the nature, whereas only small of the group people choosing to do not care or aware about the pollution plastic waste, or do not to care about the pollution ocean. Alright, for the second chart, for the part 2, is it a bar graph? Okay, the bar graph above show more information and helpful tips can help people make a better choice to reduce plastic waste. The total of number respondents involved in the survey is 18 respondents. This survey is carried among the general people. It can be clearly seen that there were 67 of respondents chosen is yes for more information and helpful tips can help people make a better choice to reduce the plastic waste. Besides this, 10 responses is chosen maybe not too sure for the information that help to reduce plastic waste, and 3 responses chosen for no information and helpful tips can help people to reduce the plastic waste. Based on the pie chart, based on the bar graph, the number of people who chosen yes on the information and the helpful tips can help the people to make a choice was a subsequently higher than the people of choose maybe. It is obviously can be seen that 67 for yes while 10 is for maybe on the information and helpful tips can help people to make a choice. It can be concluded based on the graph. The highest number of the people choosing is yes on the information and helpful tips can help to people make a better choice to reduce the plastic waste and the least number of people choose is no. Lastly, the chart for the part 2 I create is the pie chart. The chart above show the type of people responsible for the collecting plastic waste on the sea. The survey aims to investigate the type of people that is responsible to collect plastic waste in the ocean. As you can see from the graph, a large majority of the type people chosen to the citizens because it is a shared responsible to take the action and save the ocean from the plastic waste problem. Furthermore, some of the respondent chosen university students to responsible the collecting plastic waste problem. It can be seen that almost 2/3 of the respondents chosen the citizen for to take responsible for collecting plastic waste in the sea, whereas that nearly a fifth of the people chosen to Ministry of Environment to responsible to collecting plastic waste. Lastly, more than a teen to respondents chosen nature conservation to collecting plastic waste on the sea. In conclusion, based on the graph, the citizen is more highest responses because people are shared to responsible to collect plastic waste on the ocean, while the university was the least chosen reason as to collecting plastic waste on the sea.
Next, data analysis for part 3 is to assess the citizen about nature conservation. The chart above shows the nature conservation activities is necessary among 18 respondents. The chart aims to investigate activities in nature conservation. The title chart shows nature conservation activities is necessary. It can be clearly seen 41.25 choose strongly agree, 35% agree, 21.25% neutral, 2.5% strongly disagree, and 0% agree. A large majority of respondents choose strongly agree, beside the least respondent choose disagree. It can be seen nearly a half of respondents choose strongly agree with nature conservation activities is necessary. More than third of respondents choose agree with nature conservation activities is necessary. Thirdly, more than fifth of respondents choose neutral with nature conservation activities is necessary. In conclusion, a more respondent choose strongly agree with nature conservation activities is necessary, while no respondent choose disagree with nature conservation activities is necessary. The chart above shows the most important factor in nature conservation is education in among 18 respondents. The title chart shows the most important in nature conservation activities is education. From chart, there were 45% choose strongly agree, 30% choose agree, 21.25% choose neutral, 1.25% choose disagree, and choose strongly disagree. A large majority of the response choose strongly agree, while disagree is the least by the respondent. Firstly, nearly a half respondent choose strongly agree with the most important factor in nature conservation is education. Secondly, less than a third of respondents choose agree with the most important nature conservation is education. Thirdly, more than a fifth respondent choose neutral with the most important factor in nature conservation is education. In conclusion, a large majority of the respondents choose strongly agree, while disagree was the least chosen by students with the most important factor in nature conservation is education. So, education is most important to nature conservation. The chart above shows the people do not see the nature conservation is work useful among active respondents. Title chart shows people do not see the nature conservation work as useful. There was 6.25% choose strongly agree, 25% choose agree, 33.73% choose neutral, 17.5% choose agree and disagree. From the chart, the large majority of the respondent choose is neutral, while the least of respondent choose is strongly agree. Lastly, a third of respondents choose neutral with people do not see nature conservation is work useful. Secondly, a quarter of respondents choose agree with people do not see nature conservation is work useful. And thirdly, below a tenth of a respondent choose strongly agree with people do not see nature conservation work as useful. It can be concluded more respondents choose neutral, while strongly agree was the least of the choose by the respondents.
We will be continue for our next slide, which is about data analysis. Data analysis, we've been divided it into 5 parts, which my part I will be explain about to describe the power of recycle that can reduce the pollution. The chart above shows people's opinion about recycling can reduce the ocean pollution, which this survey aims is to investigate the power of recycle that can be reduce the pollution in the ocean. And as you can see from the chart, majority of people's opinion out there about the power of recycle can reduce the plastic pollution is yes, because of it have been proven before this, and whereas never is the least popular opinion among it. Based on the pie chart, what can I summarize is it is obviously can be seen that 1 in 20 from the chart chose never. Below than a third of people who are vote for maybe, which the recycle will be considered as the one way can reduce the pollution, or their opinion is like maybe these things is just a waste kind of things to do. In a conclusion that can be made on this pie chart is yes, as their opinion is the highest among all about recycle can reduce the pollution, while no, as the recycle can reduce the pollution was the least opinion that people chose. Let's go to the next slide. Is for my second question that I've been choose to analysis the data, which is how often people get to the seaside or coast. Which is, I think this question it suits for me to do the bar graph, which this graph above shows often people get to the seaside or coast. The total number of people in the survey was 80 respondents, and this survey was carried out among general, which is it can be housewife, student, employee, and so on. As the graph show, it can be seen the frequency of people get to the seaside or coast is 35 respondents chose one or more times per year, 21 respondents chose one or more times per month, 14 respondents who chose one or more times per week, 7 for none, and the least is 5 for every day get to the seaside or coast. On this graph, what can I spot the difference or the comparison between this graph is obviously it can be seen from the graph that majority the frequency of respondent get to the seaside is one or more time per year, and it was subsequently higher than none, which is 33 for one or more times per year, while 7 for none to get to the seaside or coast. And as a conclusion that can be made from this graph is the most highest numbers of how often people get to the seaside or coast is one or more time per year, while the least of it is every day on how often people get to the seaside or coast. Last but not least, I will explain on my last slide, which is volunteer to separate containers of each type, which it also I'll be using same types of graph, which is bar graph. And as the graph shows, that people willing to volunteer to separate the containers of each types, and the total of number respondents that involved in this project or on this survey was 80 respondents, and the project survey was carried out among general people. As what I said before, it can be students, employees, housewife, and so on. What we can see that the graph shows the highest number of people who volunteer to separate containers of each type is yes, will definitely do it, and will let anyone do it is the least unwilling to volunteer, and it's a quite good result that I've been seen. And the comparison that I can be made from this bar graph is the number of people who chose for maybe on volunteer was a little lower than who chose yes, will definitely do it, and which it can be seen who are chose for maybe is 34, while yes, will definitely do it is 40. And what can be concluded based on this graph is the highest volunteer is yes, will be definitely do it, while the list of volunteer is will let anyone do it. So that's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Rudrashin Sarangan, and I'm here to present about to investigate on ways to overcome the plastic pollution in the ocean. The survey aims to investigate public awareness of plastic pollution in the ocean. As you can see in the graph, the large majority of people are using plastic bags when they forget to bring paper bag. Besides, some people only prefer paper bag, and some use plastic bag every time when they go to market. More than half of the people forget to bring paper bag to market or grocery shop. Slightly over a quarter of people use plastic bag every time when they go to market. The percentage of people who only prefer precisely more than a tenth. The conclusion is it can be concluded that most of the people use plastic bags when they go to market because they only forget to bring paper bag, while only least of them prefer to bring paper bag to the market and grocery shopping.
The second chart is, do you think extra charge for plastic is necessary? This survey aims to investigate the percentage of people who thinks extra charge is necessary. As you can see, a large majority of people chose yes because to avoid extra use that lead to ocean pollution. Meanwhile, some of them think it's just the government tax, and some people choose no because it's just the weight and they don't care about it. It can be seen that majority of people picked yes because to avoid usage that leads to ocean pollution, whereas slightly over 10th of people extra charge for plastic bags is government tax and choose no because just the waste. In conclusion, yes is the most popular answer. Why public should accept the extra charge for plastic is necessary, while do not care is the least chosen reason. The third one is, have you participated in any culture, environmental education meeting or seminar like event before? This survey aims to investigate on how many people are aware on ways to overcome plastic pollution in the ocean. It can be clearly seen there were 57 participants who participate once a year, 15 participate who participate twice a year, and only 8 participate who participate more than 3 times a year. It can be concluded that most of the people only participate once a year in any nature environmental education meeting or seminar like event before, whereas the least participation is more than 3 times a year.
We come to a conclusion that the ocean problem is a global problem in this world that suffered many living things. We humans have a huge responsibility to stop this plastic pollution, so we can stop the destruction of marine living things or habitat destruction for marine organisms. From this survey, we got to know that our respondents are aware of this plastic pollution in the ocean, and we are very concerned about the ways to overcome this plastic pollution. Less usage of plastic and recycling them as much as possible will be a first step to overcome this problem. There are too many organizations in our country to overcome or to stop this or trying to stop this pollution, and we can even join them to bring a big change to this our country, Malaysia, or to the world. Thank you so much. That's all from us.